Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Fred Tatasciore, and you're watching Toon'd with Jim Cummings.
Perfect.
That's why they call me old One Tank Frank. Take two. That's why they call me old One Tank.
That's right.
Right.
That's
One
good.
Tank Frank.
Hey, everybody, Jim Cummings here, and if Tigger were here, he'd say, thanks, everybody, for bouncing on in here and enjoying the show. But before we go, I want you to do me a small favor. Hit like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the show. Now, speaking of enjoying the show, enjoy the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Tuned In with Jim Cummings. Today we are joined by Fred Tatasciore. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Before we get into this discussion, though, I have some announcements to make.
Here we go.
Get a cameo from Jim.
What'd
and
he
if
say?
you want to see Jim in person, then we have these dates coming up. This is
I'm
where
seeing
you can
him in
find
person
Jim.
right now.
January 26th at Pasadena Comic Con, and the last solidified one is April 25th to 27th, NostalgiaCon Denver. So if you want to see Jim, that's where to find him in the upcoming dates. Dates are being added. And of course, with that all done, let's get back into our discussion with Fred Tatasciore. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so
Fred
much. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Honored to be here. You know,
Glad to have you, pal.
pal and my hero, and this is so
man,
wonderful.
This is very cool.
And it's so rare that I ever get to be on anything that lets me do my real voice, which is
That's
weird.
right.
Everyone's, oh, Fred, brr, brr, brr. You know, it's like, no, it's really nice just to be let it loose.
I'm trying to think. There's a little Jason Marsden in there. I
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, man?
think. Yeah.
Greg Sipes, man.
Yeah, or no. Richard.
Yeah.
Love Richard.
Oh, yeah, Richard.
Hey, man. No, I don't know.
Richie Horvitz. Oh, my God.
Another hero.
Oh, gosh. We're going through our weird friends, in case you haven't figured that out. Our partners in crime.
It's truly partners in crime. Yeah, it really is.
Speaking of crimes,
Yes, sir. I did once for the money. I don't know why we have to bring that up.
what's that?
I did it once for the money. I don't know why
Oh,
everyone
okay.
brings that up. Everybody, you do one thing. No.
You
just
knock
kidding.
over one bank.
Everybody has a judgment. Anyway,
Yeah, right.
no, crimes, you were saying.
No, but what is the last thing you worked on that we can talk about? Because this way it won't be something coming up that you're not allowed to talk
I know,
about.
and I'm afraid because there's
They have a
I
few
got
of
this
those.
great Star Wars thing. It's about people.
Yeah, see,
No,
but George Lucas said I can't talk.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. Well, let's see.
He's got a vocal. There's a button on the side of his head.
No.
Yeah.
Well, there's a show called Max and the Midnights that is just coming out now. It's a Nickelodeon show. Very excited about it.
I used to play with them.
You did, Max. You would
Max
have.
and the Midnights.
It sounds like you were
It
drumming?
sounds like a band.
It does. Max and the
No,
Midnights.
actually, I'm kidding.
No, it's great. Yeah. Star Trek Lower Decks. We're finishing up our last
wow.
season, and that was the last thing I did work on.
Mm-hmm.
I play Lieutenant Shax, head of security, and
I feel secure.
you should. By the prophets. No, it was as a Trek fan, as a Trekkie, I just pinch myself. You ever do? I mean, I'm sure you do this.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe I get to be part of that world.
Oh,
and
I agree.
it was such a fun show. I'm sorry to see it go, but I understand all things. You know, your 5 seasons, and that's how that goes. And that was good. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, that's finishing out. I'm talking about all the shows that are done, but we just worked on them and we finished out. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and I play Moon Girl. I play Devil Dinosaur.
Okay, yeah.
One of the many jobs we have
A
where I
chipmunk.
play a creature. Exactly.
Yes.
We don't have a language, but we use our broken trombone and make a sound and make some sort of language out of it. That was a tremendous show. I love the art, the animation. It all worked together. So if you check that out, that's Disney. And there's Star Wars called Skeleton Crew. I play a very awful pirate coming up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's coming up in December.
Skeleton Crew. Is that that's not on yet?
December.
It is? Oh, okay. Because I was thinking, wait.
So
a minute,
that's
I can't-
exciting. So yeah, Max and the Midnights, those are new. So those are the new ones and the old ones. So yeah. It's been quite a ride.
Nice,
still
man.
going. Still happy they keep me around.
Yeah, ain't it the truth?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Speaking of quite a ride, you've been a part of so many iconic franchises. I mean, Thundercats, Transformers, Star Trek, Star Wars, Family Guy. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, it's just crazy. And I mean, what does it feel like to be involved? I mean, Jim, you can attest to this as well. You know, you've been a part of so many franchises. For both of you, I voiced this question: how's it feel to be a part of so many iconic franchises? Like, you're literally ingrained in the fabric of our culture right now.
It's crazy. It's a crazy honor. I grew up a fan, you know, so going to watching Looney Tunes growing up. Yeah, and we get to play these characters on Looney Tunes, and it's odd to voice Darth Vader or to voice things that I grew up with, and it's an honor playing, let's say, Hulk, for example, and you bring your own energy to it. Yeah, but it's just to know that, like, my childhood's revisited. Not only I'm living it again, it's also interesting to know these characters intimately. You know them as an audience as a kid. But then you really start to get into, like, what's the psychology of the character and how do you play them and what notes they play. And so for me, it is cliche to say a dream come true because I didn't know I could dream this.
Yeah.
And I love when I get to...
Well, it's too late. You're stuck now.
I know. I'm stuck now, happily stuck. It's so funny to play these iconic characters that, like, Mel Blanc would have brought. And then it's fun to be able to create something new on top of that. And so it's really crazy. How about you? How's it been for you?
Well, who's your favorite, though? I mean, top 3 characters.
Oh, my God.
Because people ask me, what's your favorite character to voice? And I can't do it. But
I can't either. I
like 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, how about you? Who are your favorites?
Well, Pooh, Tigger, Darkwing. Taz is kind of in there somewhere.
You got to do some Taz together.
And yeah, that's true. and Hondo Onaka, and Ray from Princess and the Frog.
Yes,
those are my
that.
Those
my
are
son
my
loves
guys.
that too. By the way,
yeah,
it's great.
You were very kind. I remember when that came out. Oh my God! I'm just wow. You funny things you remember. I was at Davis Glick and I was walking out, and you and Steve Bloom were walking in, and you go, "Oh hey guys, hey, and you both turned around. Oh, love, I freaking love Ray, man.
It's so
I love
good.
Ray. I love. Don't make me light my butt, you know. So.
We're so proud of you. I mean, it was just so cool.
It was a crack up.
Because you really doing your thing.
That.
You know what I mean? It was really you getting to lean into it and do your thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that. Gosh. Well, I'm sentimental about Hulk because I played him for so long.
Sure.
And I've got to be him at many different phases of Hulk. They've let me change with him a little bit. Like
were you the gray Hulk ever?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Because remember
Hulk.
him?
Yeah. I've done the gamut of, like, the Savage Hulk to, like, the really smart Hulk. You know what I mean? And it's like really, that was enjoyable.
I like that because it sounds like a record being played at, a 45 record being played at 33.
If you ever want to see your shirt again, you will call. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, I really love, let's see. Ask the Storybots. That was fun. I got to play. I love playing for educational kid shows. That was really fun. Yosemite
cool.
Sam and Taz, I got to say, that's a huge, that's a big deal for me. And again, Lieutenant Shax on Lower Decks was something I'm so proud of just because it was a new character, a Star Trek character that's now in that universe. So that's near and dear to my heart.
Sure.
And
well, anytime you're in a star, anything.
I know.
Anything star, right? You're down with a
right.
test.
Exactly. Truly.
Even Star Search.
Exactly. Even that.
Why not?
Yeah. No, I just, like you say, it's really hard to kind of narrow it down because I just enjoy, even the ones that people might not even know that well. Like I worked on a show with you. Well, Planet Sheen, I think I worked on with you. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I played the Emperor, which is kind of a Paul Frees sort of haunted mansion meets Orson Welles. You know what I mean? And that was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I forgot about that.
And then being part of a show, may not be a character. A lot of times I play a utility. So like for Family Guy, you're Bono, Mark Twain, a toilet, and a cop number 2. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like it's more like being part of a parts of shows are fun too.
And I'm not going to ask about the toilet, but Bono, that was good.
Actually, the toilet was the most normal. I think it was my own voice.
Well,
please God, no.
Since we're on the topic of Family Guy, I really wanted to talk about this today. Did you get to work with Seth MacFarlane when you were? So what was on my mind
all the time
was, to me, in the voice acting community, Seth MacFarlane is never really considered a voice actor, along with the Matt Stone and Trey Parker from South Park. For some reason, I feel like they kind of get left out of the conversation. I would say more so Seth MacFarlane than Matt Stone, Trey Parker. I would say Seth MacFarlane is way more talented. Yeah. But I feel like he never really comes up in conversation of like great voice actors, and he can do so many fabulous voices.
Yeah, that's actually surprises me because I consider him that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a fabulous singer.
Yeah.
A lot of
He sure
times,
is.
I think when it's part of your show, a lot of like you mentioned, you know, Parker and Stone, it's sort of like a lot of animators are actors at heart. In fact, I'm an animator too. That's
I was
how
going to
got
bring
into
that
this
up
business.
as well. Yeah.
And I just joke about it because animation's the slowest acting you'll ever do. Instead of saying like, "Hey Jim," it's through the pencil in frames. And it's their show, right? So they know their rhythm. It's like that's Seth's show. He knows the rhythm, the tempo, what he wants, and so you're kind of like your own Jim Henson puppet company. And so I think people associate you with a show.
Yeah.
You know, or this is their jam. This is what South Park does, and that's it. And you don't see them outside of that, which surprises me because all three of those people you've mentioned are incredibly talented vocally. Yeah. Seth is fantastic. Seth,
amazing.
Seth truly makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, he does, in person. I can't repeat half of what he says.
Yeah.
But he does. He makes me just like, he's done things that have surprised me.
Yeah.
You know, like in a session. And a great guy. Can't say not only enough good things about the guy.
And he can really sing like Sinatra.
He sings great.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised when you mentioned that to me. I guess I see how that would be. But I think he should rightfully be within that.
No, I totally agree.
And watching him change gears for his characters is just incredible.
You know what kills me is he can have like three just regular guys.
Yeah.
And that's like the kiss of death. Wait, I have to sound like a who?
Yeah.
Like a what? Like some guy talking?
Yeah.
Let me see. Can he be from France or it's like, but he'll have three guys from Pacoima.
Right.
And they all sound different. But
That's actually really true. Yeah.
And it's like, how do you wait? What?
Yeah,
you find the right play, and that's really great utility playing.
Yeah.
I mean, we get called for those out there wanting to do this. It's great to have a range. You don't have to. You can just be a fabulous actor and avoid that one voice. But you can also have the range, which is great. And it's finding, like a singer, where does it sit in your throat?
Yeah.
So you might have one guy who's got this tempo and rhythm and up in here, and then maybe somebody else might be a little heavier or whatever. And
maybe an older guy.
But you sort of find out where they are pitched
Where
and
the placement
tempo,
is. Where it is in your head, too.
And every character has its own, like you say, tempo, rhythm. And so I could see, once you learn that, it really helps for utility. And I think he's got that. I really do.
Unbelievable.
Truly.
Which the idea of just having three separate guys who are all from I for some reason that impresses the hell out of me.
It's impressive.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
How do we do it?
Madness. It's madness.
And that's cool
Wasted
that you got
youth.
to work with such talent, like breaking into the industry, breaking into the voice industry, because that was one of your first roles, was it not, on Family Guy?
Yeah, I would say
Voice
that was my
acting?
first show. I think it was John Madden. I had to do, and I get killed for this.
John
I was
Madden.
Esther Roll, but let's not get into but yeah,
Esther
Oh,
Roll.
James, he's an idiot.
but the thing is they wanted her. Sadly, she had passed away, and it wasn't like
Oh, my
making fun of
God.
her at all.
Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
a voice. But getting into like what was the question again? What was it?
I was just saying it's really cool that, as far as I know, Family Guy was one of your first
that was
voice
my
acting
first.
roles.
Yeah, that was my first show. I would say Invader Zim was also my first series.
Gotcha.
And that's where I think we worked together.
The dreaded Richard.
Oh yeah,
Richard
God,
Herman.
the best. Yeah, he was really one of my first pals.
Yeah,
he
he's a
really
good guy.
encouraged me and brought me on, and he was fabulous. I just love that guy.
If only get him
Invader
out of
Zim-
his shell, he'd be okay.
I know, right?
He's very quiet.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, and then Gladiator was one of my first movies to work on, which is very fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's fun to watch that now and hear.
What could
You'll be fighting for the Emperor. Do not turn your back on him. I did a lot of those.
Okay.
Open the gate. How many times have I played a guy that says, "Close the gate"? I want to make a whole bit about the gatekeeper.
Oh, wow. That's true.
One
That's
guy.
good.
Open the gate.
Yeah.
Close the gate.
Yeah.
Every movie,
Heaven's
sci-fi.
Gate. Oh, God. Yeah.
I'm trying my best. I'm closing the gate. I know.
Oh, my.
Every orc.
Yeah. Every orc.
You know?
That's so true.
Open the gate. But yeah, so those were my
Orcs.
orcs.
God, I forgot
So that
about
was those were my starter shows, and fortunately got to stay with them.
Yeah.
I'm still doing the Family Guy and American Dad. Happy,
Gotta love
they're
that.
so much fun. Those guys are in fact, a couple of the writers I did Pat Megan, Steve Callahan's one of my best friends. We did UCLA Comedy Club together.
Okay.
So it's really crazy getting
way.
back to work with guys I did stand up with.
Yeah.
Back
No
in the
kidding.
day. Yeah. And so they're, funny, and Family Guy has its own rhythm too. You know what I
that's
mean?
for
Like
sure.
you just kind of, it's one of the few comedy shows I don't do a lot of improv. You know what I mean? 'Cause most
You
of
don't
the-
have to. It's well written.
It's well written, and you got to know when to hit the jokes. You know what I mean?
no
It's
doubt.
Yeah. It's
That's an amazing. I just think that's amazing.
oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ralph Garman, and a bunch of people are on that show. Yeah.
Yeah, just the idea. It's so creative. You know, it's almost like there's no out of bounds on there.
No, in fact, that's the scary part. I mean, there would
Yeah.
be times where I would say to Seth, "How did you get that on the air? Like, you're going to get letters. You know, like, this is serious."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't know. I don't." And I think how they do it in South Park, both those shows, they say from the get-go, this is inappropriate. It's not okay.
That's true.
This is not model behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
Whereas I love Simpsons because it wants that line. It's still family friendly.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's
Yeah.
okay. You know, like you're safe.
Well, there are
you
some
know?
South Parks that it's like, okay,
Oh, no.
the kids,
Oh,
you
yeah.
cannot watch this.
It's, in South Park's great because
Yeah, South Park is.
Because it makes fun of the thing you don't normally make fun of. It's not making fun of the bad things that happen. It's bad parenting they're making fun of. You know, they're making fun of like not
Okay.
the obvious,
Yeah.
you know, perception, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Mm-hmm. Oof.
Yeah. What was early show for you? What was your early,
Early show.
yeah.
Dumbo Circus.
Dumbo
First one.
Circus.
People in costumes.
How great.
And I was Lionel the Lion. And it was kind of Timothy the Mouse, but it was people in costumes, so they couldn't have like even a little person. They couldn't have like a 4-foot mouse. So it was a big mouse.
No, were you in costume?
No,
Okay. You were just.
no,
okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were talking.
Yeah, and I've had actual people. So we were at Disneyland and we saw you, but you didn't say anything. I'm sorry. What are you talking about? Well, you know, Winnie the Pooh, and then I'm thinking, well, he can't be Pooh and then Tigger because Pooh and Tigger were together, and I was thinking, well, which one's he today? And I said, well, I'm not in those.
Right.
So that's not you. Well, not in the costume. I thought you were Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, I am, but not in costume.
Right.
I don't work at Disneyland. Oh. It's like I let you down.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
You know, the Tigger gets pounced on. The kids attack Tigger.
Oh,
I remember they pull out the tail and everything. They really play. They think Tigger is the
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
And if you're in that
He's ready
Tigger
to
outfit,
bounce.
if you're in that Tigger
You're
outfit,
getting your ass kicked.
you do more than I think
Yeah.
others. I've noticed that. I was like, wow.
You know, I have friends and people that I know at Disney and everything. And when Tarzan came out, they had a Tarzan walk around, and apparently, a walk around character walking around. Well, he's wearing a loincloth. And apparently all the little old ladies and some of the young ladies and some of the young men were very good at pinching his butt.
Oh, no.
And so they had to fire Tarzan. He was no longer allowed to walk around because he was just getting his
The
butt.
liability.
Yeah, it was just.
He was too sexy.
Yeah, he was too sexy. Yeah, and apparently he liked it, but
No.
but we can't. No,
I'm picturing him just sobbing.
I'm fired.
that's right. Wow, gee, pal, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, come on. You were the diaper.
Yes, see,
Diaper. It's hard to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Oh, it's hard to say anything in duck voice.
Gosh. Yeah. Those
Yeah.
guys who do it. Oh my God. Tony.
Pass. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my buddy David.
David's
he's
amazing.
He's really good.
So good. And
Yeah,
the
you can
articulation.
understand him.
Yes, the articulation.
That's the thing of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what did you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, sure. Well, anyway, of course that's what you said.
Right. You know.
Yeah. Anyway,
I
Disney
love that.
magic.
It is. It's true. Yeah, being able to articulate with certain voices, it's tricky.
Yes.
Yeah.
painfully.
At Disneyland, I am the voice of Vader, which is really weird. To actually say, and bless, James Earl
Darth
Jones
Vader.
and
That's
David
pretty
Prowse.
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, but it's so funny to like then meet Vader because I'm my own worst critic, so I'm hearing it going, no, that's not good. And then when you actually meet up with them, like, okay, that sounds all right.
And do they give you the? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Do you do your own?
I don't. I brought actually. Let me show you this. Hold on. Here.
Oh.
I brought something here. It's really funny. It doesn't work. I learned this on Gladiator.
It doesn't work. Oh,
Well,
good.
no,
I'm glad you brought it.
No. It works in person.
I
but
see.
rarely do you actually.
Oh, sure.
No, Jim. Search your feelings. For some reason, Vader can.
Wow,
Darth
that's
Can
good.
Vader. Yeah.
That's good. But you got a double whammy going there.
Yes.
great.
I would have thought it
Keeps
would be
this-
just.
this. No, but this contains the sound. So you put the two together.
Oh.
I noticed one time it worked really well. But the thing
How
was,
do you find something like that out? That's just playing
I'm
around,
playing
experimentation.
Well, it was on Gladiator. We had to do voices. Sorry, mic drop. And I used we used pots and pans to make it sound like we're speaking through a armor.
Wow.
Yeah, and helmets and stuff. And so that worked. It makes you speak differently, but when you record, they want it straight. They don't want to affect it. They don't want to have any
They want to
garbage.
do that. They want to do the can.
They want to do the can, and it sounds better. It was a funny experience too because we had a bunch of lines. I'm amazed at the guys in the suits who can actually trigger the responses. You can have a conversation with them, and they found it was really great for adults and teenagers. Working with I think there's a traitor amongst you, and he goes and talks to groups of people, and it was horrible for little kids because it's scary, and they don't know the story, and and also
And what if the good guys don't win today?
Right. So we had to do a bunch of lines that were all the good, like more positive, gentler Vader lines. Like, the
Interesting.
force is strong with you. When you complete your training, I will find you.
Yeah.
You'll join me rather than I'm.
Yeah, you'll
destroying
come
you.
over to the dark side.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'll kill you till you're dead.
None of that. Yeah, I never got to that. Yeah. I thought that was kind of an interesting, kind of a fascinating thing to see. Like,
Yeah.
those the nice lines of Vader.
Yeah.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
It is.
Well, he doesn't have many, I wouldn't think.
Not usually, no. Yeah.
Luke, I am your father.
No, I.
Right? Isn't that? I think that was a line.
It was.
Yeah.
I never told you. I am your father. Yeah.
No.
No. You had Mark on, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, we're working on it.
yeah.
We're working on it.
He's another one who's just a fabulous voice actor.
Yeah.
And I joke with him. I say, you're this brilliant. If he never was famous, he would have been just this incredible
Would have been
voice
fine,
actor.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, you just happen to be Luke Skywalker.
He's
You have to be like-
the best Joker.
Oh my God, I love his Joker.
Yeah.
It's so good and so
Unbelievable.
psychotic and wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you about the first time I ever met him. They were we were doing Tasmania over in Glendale, and everybody's going, well, Jim, Mark Hamill's here. What? Yeah, he's the new Joker. He had replaced Tim Curry, and oddly enough, I was in the very first one with Tim. And I don't know if I redid it with Mark or not. I can't remember, but he was there, and I said, Mark, hi, Jim Cummings. I'm working over here on Tasmania. Big fan. I congratulations. This is the coolest hell. I hear you're the Joker. I mean, you're gonna have the time of your life. He goes, okay, good. So give me some Darkwing. What? Give me some Darkwing, Doc. Well, I am the terror of the flat. Okay, so that's in The Mask, huh? Yeah, that's in The Mask. Okay, give me some poo. Well, sure, but only for a smacker. Oh, see, that's interesting. Is that a falsetto? Is that a falsetto? That's a bit of a falsetto, isn't it? Give me some ticker. And well, I'm on over there. Okay, hold on. First of all, you're not meeting me. I'm meeting you. I don't think you understand.
No.
I appreciate it. However, good to see you, buddy. Hey, hi. Here's my phone number. Let's hang out. I was like, I'm meeting you. You're not meeting me.
Isn't that funny?
He's such a great guy.
He is. He gets that impression. He's
So down
he's
to
so
earth.
interested in what you're doing, and like just a normal, wonderful actor. He's just like taking it on, and
who just happens to be
this
an
Master
icon.
Skywalker. I know.
Yeah,
exactly. It's
an
really
icon of the world.
Wait, I want to go back to this prop because I'm so fascinated by that. Jim, we talked on another episode about a voice actor who used like an old candle lantern,
Yes.
and he turned it one way
Yes,
and then
that
turned
was,
it another way.
Jimmy, oh God, what was
Let us know in the comments. But I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you if you've
worked
ever
with him a couple
used
times.
a prop to create a voice.
No,
No?
I've pinched my nose a couple of times.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I do that with the
Yeah,
nasal.
yeah.
And then we all done, I saw we were talking about the droopy.
and then the
Gordon
droopy
Hunt taught
thing.
me that.
Yes,
Yeah, Gordon Hunt. He used to direct
Yes.
a lot of droopies.
yeah,
he
I
was
used to do that,
fabulous.
and I can't even remember what character it was for. Send us a card or letter, won't you, folks? Tell us what character I did that for.
It's funny. Yeah,
Wait a second. Well, we just both talk like this for,
Yeah, we're
for
gonna
a
sit
while.
there talking.
Yeah, we're so happy to be here.
Yeah,
I think curl my tongue sometimes for the lower voices. For Vin Diesel, I had to pull my neck a little bit. You're not afraid of the dark, are you? Yeah, I don't,
yeah.
I don't know.
And we've all got our little tricks. Now, I will tell you. Here's my slow motion voice.
Okay.
Yeah, the way I've faked it, because it's only just so deep, because you try to get that, but you stick your tongue on the top of your mouth and don't move it.
Okay.
And-
And then
Yeah.
when you speak, it just comes out slow.
That's really good. I think that's what I'm doing. But I'm doing
It
the
sounds
same.
like it.
What I'm doing is I'm paralyzing the tongue.
Oh.
Actually, yeah, just
Paralyzing?
meaning it's very still, and I leave this open cavity down here.
Yes.
But then we have to.
Change the batteries.
I'm running out of riff nip,
Yes,
rip
yeah.
up, riff nip, rip
was waiting for that.
rest nip, Jim, rest nip, Jim, red Jim, you're red. Air.
Yeah.
Tuned in. Represent.
Yes.
That's gonna be the new intro song.
That is gonna be.
Representing tunes.
And everywhere.
Yeah, baby. Hell yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, that's good.
We'll do it for you.
That's good. Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh,
Fred,
please.
we can go home now.
I
Shit,
love
I'm
that.
No, we're
I
not
love
going
that. I've heard you talking in other interviews and podcasts how you just you treat your voice as an instrument, and people ask you how you come up with all these voices, and you pretty much just answer, it's my instrument. I play around with it.
Right.
That's right,
Can you
yeah.
speak? Can you elaborate more on that?
Absolutely. I mean, we're really lucky because we're shapeshifters as a job. Our job is we're so lucky that we get to be things we would normally be in person, like the 4-foot mouse. Or
There you go.
So a lot of I know this is true for you too. A lot of my job is so many characters don't speak a language per se that is, it's more sounds and sound oriented. So you start to, it's like a guitar effect or a spice rack. You start matching up certain sounds together, what works. Like we're talking about the slow thing or
Yes, that's
pitching
right.
things back or going faster.
or slower or, higher and lower. And it is basically, I talked to Deep about this too. Yeah, Deep Baker,
yeah,
you had
yeah.
a great interview with him. It is an instrument. We're the larynx people. The band called the Glottal Stops.
Yeah.
And it is. And you do have to play around and you try to be careful not to blow it out and all that.
Yeah.
But you start to have little things like this sound I can use for certain things and then incorporate it with other things and you combine it a little bit. I love it. I think of us as like session players. They may not know us out there, but we play on everyone's album, and, hopefully. And it's as much an acting job as it is a voice artist job. It's an art job too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of the two, but it is acting primarily. For sure. But it is.
Yeah, well, if
but
you're not a
then
good
the
actor,
larynx.
you're not going to be a good,
Right. But it is the larynx. It is finding things. And I love that, though. Like, I love recording and finding out new sounds and, doing
Me too.
beatboxes. Yeah, I know you do. I know. That's a...
Baby.
Oh yeah, you blew me away. First time, I remember one of the things we worked on. You were you were a Santa Claus for something. I think it was Barnyard.
Oh,
I can't remember. You were gosh, you were insane. You were like the most insane, funny Santa. I think because I knew your work, but I'd never worked with you directly.
Yeah.
I laughed
Yeah,
so
that
hard.
rings a bell.
I think with that, you had this sort of sound. Like for Santa, that was just like this frustrated little,
pissed
what
off
are you
Santa.
doing? You know,
Yeah.
that's really great.
God, I remember that show.
Yeah,
Where'd that go?
Barnyard was fabulous. Back to the Barnyard.
Yeah.
That was.
Have you guys ever surprised yourself with a voice? I remember my dad was telling me a story. He was working on a reboot of Wacky Races with Billy West and Tom Kenny. And being in that environment, you know, he wasn't really a heavy voice actor. He's done some voices in his life, but it's more just his voice that he uses.
Yeah.
And in that environment, he was like, you know what, like, wow, like I'm just in the presence of greatness, you know, like I'm going to try something else, you know, I'm going to try this wacky voice that I've never tried before. And he surprised himself and was like, I didn't even really know that could come out.
Cool.
Yeah.
It happens every now and then.
I'm wondering if you guys have had that same experience.
Kind of. You know, it was a long time ago. It's got to be at least 20 years, but they did a Wizard of Oz cartoon show. I think Tress ended up being the witch, and Charlie Etta was the lion. I forget. Man, I think Jeff Bennett was in it, the Tin Man and everything. And I auditioned for one or two of them, and I was joking around, and you can do what you want with the little dog, but I want the girl alive. And they go, oh, that's not bad. And I go, yes, it is. It's bad. And they go, no, let's lay it down. Anyway, I got a call back for the freaking Wicked Witch of the West. I said, are you sure? Well, what about the lion? No, we're getting Charlie Adler for that. And I go, oh. All right, so the Wicked Witch, you can do what you want, you know. And it's,
Wow.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
No, I didn't get it.
But it surprised you.
But the fact that they thought it was worth listening to again. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was. I think that's the only time I've crossed the gender line.
Yeah, generally
But I
that was
came back.
That was yes to roll for me. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because I kind of
Well, she sounded good.
I just don't know anymore. You know, like just talking. You know,
And I didn't really try. I didn't think about it. I was just doing it for like try.
But she was in Good Times. Was it?
Yeah.
Good Times.
Yeah, and
for those of you who don't know.
No, she was a theater. I mean, she was an actress.
She came from
She was the best
stage.
actor ever. Like she was incredible. So I wasn't even like I wasn't trying to do an impression or like make fun. I literally
I was just trying to get the voice. Oh, James, he's an idiot.
you know, and I didn't expect to get that because I was on for John Amos, and they said, "Oh no, we want you to do this part." I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me! That's not, you know." And it was great. I mean, fortunately, it wasn't disrespectful. Like it wasn't anything like horrible, you know. Because nowadays, you know, but dialect. Sometimes it's wonderful when you actually get a dialect. When I got to do this guy for Arcane, this voice sort of surprised that I got to be like, you know, I do what I do. And I don't what I don't, like out of a Guy Ritchie movie. You know, it surprised me how far that went. You know, it's like, I was like, oh, I'm comfortable talking like this. Actually, I think I'd like to stay like this. Yeah. It's like, feel more natural to me.
It's true.
Why.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's fun when you get to surprise yourself, though, and not know. For me, because I work in the low end so much. So every now and then I get to do something high up there. And that always surprises me. I always love when I get to do that, you know, or a more subdued character. Do you get to play your own voice much?
Not much.
Yeah, every now and then I do. You know, not much though.
The closest. Unless it's narration. I did it for a long time. Kids WB.
Yeah,
and that was just me. Coming up next on Kids WB.
Yeah,
it's like Happy Me.
Yeah, trailer promo. I've had to do a lot of that.
Happy Me.
Happy You. Yeah, on Disney. Yeah.
Look, it's Kids WB. Yeah. And then Disney too.
Right.
But
the happy version.
Kids something. Yeah.
I had to do Bravo's 5-star cinema, telling you about things that happen in the movie. You know, so it was very straight.
Yeah.
You know, it was like the serious me, which is rare.
Yeah.
Can't take me seriously in this shirt.
Yeah, well,
bad news is happening everywhere. Yeah,
that's right. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
That's right.
Yeah, more like it.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm trying to think other ones that were surprises. Yeah, that's a good question though, because it does. I love that I always want to come up with a new voice all the time. It's always the one we haven't done yet.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
That's always a thing to play around with, or a new character. I love that work.
Yeah.
Love doing that.
Yeah. Well, that's what was fun about doing a lot of those 65 episode series. You know, you're doing your character, or maybe you had one or two characters, and then you get to be the mailman. Then you get to be the Italian icy vendor.
It's great.
Then you get to be, you know, the Eskimo,
Right.
I don't, or Inuit, whatever. You know.
Totally. No, it's
And
like,
it's kind of cool.
And if there's a franchise you love, like we're doing Star Trek, they really honored the original series. So I would go back and watch the 60s. I'd watch the old the Stentorian aliens, like, you will now,
God, yes.
you will not resist this. And they wanted to keep it consistent with that,
With that
So I play my
corny-
character,
Yeah.
but like all of these things you've seen throughout all the movies and the shows and even the animated show, aliens they never really did much with. They brought back. So that was kind of fun to do the little research on it and try to do, like you say, like the rando, guy, So other than like we know Klingons and we know that, but like there'd be some crazy thing we never, thought about.
That's right. Now, what Michael Dorn is he?
Michael Dorn, yes.
Is he a Klingon?
Worf. He's Worf.
He's a Klingon.
Yeah, okay. he's the chief security.
Because there were Klingons, and then who were the other bad guys?
Romulans.
Yeah, that's the one.
And it has a language.
I knew it was
so you can speak Romulan, you can speak Klingon, you can speak Ferengi and Vulcan. I've had to do all of those at one time or other, and it was really funny.
Kidding.
Yeah, I had to work with the guy who created
Ferengi.
Klingon.
So what do you
Oh
call
my
it?
God!
Quintilingual?
And they have a language, right?
Oh yes,
It's out there.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, Star Wars has Huttese, they have languages, but they're a little looser about it. Whereas, like, you have to, if you're doing Klingon, you have to, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I liked Vulcan. The Vulcan sounded like Hebrew and Greek. Like, it's not Spock, Spoch. It was very soft.
Yeah.
The Romulans were Vulcan, and they split. So it's very interesting.
Fun facts to know and tell.
I tell you, history. Learn your history, kids.
Yeah,
Stay in
that's
school.
right. That's right.
There's going to be a test on this.
We had Hank Azaria on a couple weeks ago,
he's so great.
I remember he had his one character, the comic book guy.
Simpsons.
worst donuts ever.
I happen to be very fluent in Vulcan.
Right.
In case you didn't know. And if you could find yourself in such a situation as to which you would need some translation, right here. And
It's so spot on.
It's so
that character is so perfect.
Yeah.
And I think it was meant to be a one-off. That was like one of those characters that you just had to keep. He's like, it's so.
Well, he was saying that a lot of his characters that ended up recurring were just, they were popular. They came out, they did a little walk-on, did his 3 or 4 lines, boom, boom. Then 3 shows later, he's got to come back again because he was pretty cool. Everybody liked him.
Oh, he's great.
And so that's,
Yeah.
Honestly, knock on wood, I'll tell you that. That's what Hondo Onaka was for me, Star Wars.
Is that right?
He was in 2 or 3 episode arc in Rebels. And then
so cool.
A couple shows later, they go, "Whoa, okay, everybody kind of like that Hondo. Can we crash land on his planet again or something?" And so
May I ask you
that
to do a little
happened.
Hondo?
Yes, you can.
It's funny because I tell my old friend Skywalker, don't worry. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to invest your money. That way you won't lose a dime.
I will take care of you. Just put it right here. Give me all your gold.
I love that. That's great.
And he's just
So that was
a
a
constant
repeat.
con man. Yeah.
It's nice when that happens.
And he grew, and now he's got the big rides at Disney World and Disneyland.
That's
It's
awesome.
pretty cool.
There was a Disney
Thank
show.
Lord.
That's awesome. That's what you hope for. I had a character named Buff Frog on The Star and the Forces of Evil. And it was Ridley. He was just supposed to be a henchman. I think they had it planned, though. I didn't know. But he was just this henchman who was very, secretive, Russian, but the big frog.
Okay.
Big frog, who was like undercover, like doing very special ops work. He was like KGB type guy who ends up siding with her at the end. Like he ends up being a hero and never would have expected,
Right.
you know what I mean? And he ends up, going against his boss. taking care of all his tadpoles. These are my babies. I look after them. You know, it was like this whole weird character arc that came out of the show.
Yeah.
Right.
I was so happy though that he kept him going, And at cons, I get people give me tadpoles.
No.
Stuffed animal tadpoles.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Not real ones, no.
Okay.
Yet. No.
Yeah. Well, folks, let's fix that. Let's get Fred.
No, it's okay. I love tadpoles. You ever raise a frog?
Yeah. Well, I used to catch a lot of tadpoles.
Yeah.
A lot of
amazing.
tadpoles as a kid.
And it's a fun thing for
And
a kid.
salamanders, too.
Salamanders. Very, very cool.
Salamanders were a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're very cool looking.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's really wild. Kids love that to see wow, the things forming and
Caterpillars.
a little evolution in front of you. Yes, I was fascinated with caterpillars.
Me too. Yeah,
I used to get those a lot, and then I'll remember my mom's apartment. I got one and I put it in this jar, and all of a sudden there's the cocoon.
Yeah,
which felt like forever. I just forgot about it, and we forgot. We just assumed, it's dead or something happened, and one morning, it's black butterfly.
Yeah.
And we set it free. And it was the coolest, one of my cool, happy memories,
Yeah.
I remember I made a moth by accident. I thought it was going to be a butterfly.
Well, moths are kind of
Turned
cool,
out to be a
too.
moth.
Yeah. I've seen those little caterpillars that are they're great looking caterpillars.
I like the big giant ones that look like eyes, that look like they're...
Those are incredible.
Those are awesome.
Yeah. Well, I have another topic for both of you.
Yes.
So you guys both took an unconventional way to end up where in the career path that you did, if there is a conventional way in show business,
Yeah, if there is one, yeah.
But I'm wondering, I was thinking about it on the drive over here this morning, has there ever been a time in your life where just in the position, whether it be walking into a studio, whether it be a premiere, whether it be a job, a franchise that you worked for, whatever, where you just were like, I can't believe this is real life. Like, I cannot believe this is really happening. Like, this is real. This is where I'm at. And I had one moment. Well, I had a few moments like that in my life so far. But one that really stands out to me is I played college football. I was at the Air Force Academy.
Wow.
And running out of the tunnel to 100,000 people at Oklahoma in their stadium, it was like, this is what I dreamed for. I'm here. I'm physically doing whatever I manifested.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, at what point in your lives you had a similar moment where it was like, wow, I really dreamt this? Because I know you wanted to do this since you were 5 years old.
Yeah.
I've heard that you knew about
I've
what you
always
wanted to
do this in some way.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm constantly amazed. I know it sounds so hokey and pandering to say, like, even being able to get on this show. I know it sounds silly, but I'm like, the idea where I look at the
that's an
people
honor.
you've had on the show, and I'm like, you want me to talk to you about stuff? And it's strange to me. I never feel like I've made it. I never feel like, I'm resting on my laurels. I just sort of feel like, I'm just on to the next. I want to jam. The next jam.
Next one.
But I am amazed because we don't get, like, when I did stand-up comedy or music or theater, you have an immediate response.
Yeah.
You're in there. And you're like,
You were saying you did stand-up. I think that's brave as hell.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I
sure
loved
is.
it. I love doing it. Mine was more like you would expect, more vocal-driven.
Sure.
And character-driven rather than like, here's a joke or I wish I could do that. It was more like performance arty. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff, using audio samples and stuff I want to get back into, actually. But I know Dee did that too. He did some wild stuff. So as getting into animation, let's say you do a video game, Soldier 76, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't realize the worldwide impact that has. So when I go to a Comic-Con, for example,
I know.
And there's lines, people want to talk about this, and there's audience.
It boggles me a little bit too.
It boggles my mind. Yeah. Or when I'm sitting in, again, reading a Star Trek script, for example, or, working on a Star Wars movie, you think, dang, this is how this is done. This is actually happening. And it's intimidating because then you work with people, your heroes, but they don't want you to be like, if I'm working with you, you just want me to play. You're not interested in,
Sure.
having
that's what we're doing
people
anyway.
being intimidated or what I mean. So that's always those are always those moments where you're just like,
pinch me. I always say it's the stuff that used to get me kicked out of class.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, isn't that funny? The stuff that would, I see this with my son because he's a clown, and he's funny. He's 6 years old and he does crazy things and makes all the kids laugh. And I get teacher calls from the teacher, and there's part of me that's like hard for me to discipline him because
Right,
I'm like,
because
that was funny.
You're disciplining yourself.
That was funny. Yeah, and he's really funny. And then Sam's like, don't ever do that again. Please, just not while you're at school.
Yeah,
so I'm like not worried about his life. I'm worried about him in school.
Just getting through school.
I know he's going to be good later. You know, like I realize you see the other side of it.
I agree. Yeah. Oh God, I agree. You know, don't stifle. You know, anytime, you know, because the nuns, God bless them.
Yes.
You know, they were not. I mean, I was told flat out. This one teacher said, "What the hell do you think you're never going to do anything with this ridiculous crap? What do you know? Blah blah blah."
With your voices?
Both, everything. You know, and you and your drums and your, you know, you're not going to go. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to end up. And I don't want to bore everybody with this again.
No.
But that guy slammed me up against the locker and go, "You're going to end up working in a steel mill. Just like your cousins. You're going to lose money on the Browns. You're going to maybe make a couple bucks on the Steelers here and there. You're going to, you know, and you're going to drink a lot of Budweiser." Okay? And so I don't drink Budweiser. Right. I don't lose money on the Browns or the Steelers. I don't win any money on them either, but I don't. And I showed him I drink Coronas. Joke's on him. Gotcha.
Take that, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But it's I know
God.
they really narrowed you in. Billy West has a few stories like that too.
Oh,
really,
yeah, sure.
I was very lucky. I had a lot of good encouragement. I really did. I was very lucky. I mean, I got a lot of the other.
So I'm glad I didn't, because I think
it helps.
Because people say, no, you'll never ever be able to do that. It's like,
I'll show you.
Now it's coming. See, thank you for ensuring that I will make you gargle those words.
Yes, yes.
You know,
no, the adversity can really help.
Yeah,
it
that's
really
true.
can.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and
negative reinforcement.
Negative reinforcement, as long as it doesn't sour you.
Yeah.
Or make you, or, you know, make your soul turn, you know, inward, or discourage you. See, that's what drives me crazy about the stuff you're saying is like when teachers or parents are like putting you down here in this box. And I tell people, you're an artist now. You know, when I tell you know, a lot of actors or music, whoever, you know, whatever they're into, you're not, you know, human becoming. You're not an artist tomorrow. You're an artist now.
That's good advice.
Anything you can do today. Practice your drums, draw something, make a recording, or just learn something every day. That's really, I find that gets me through. As opposed to like, oh, when I do this, when I make my first million. No, when I make my first whatever, you know, or when I get through this, then I'll be something. I used to do that all the time. And it's like, don't, because you're just going to, you are it now. But I'm working at a gas station. Yeah, you're an artist working at a gas station.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good job. You know, like whatever. You know,
Sure.
like, you're just making money.
Yeah.
You know, there's no shame in any of that. You know, and I always feel like too often we limit ourselves or tell you know, people, you're. You know, you're not going to do that.
Well, I mean, you know, if you can imagine that's the old corny thing. But if you can imagine, I couldn't imagine not doing this.
Oh no, me neither.
So that it's not like I didn't really have a choice.
Me neither. I really agree.
Yeah.
This was not like a thing I just sort of fell into. This is something I strangely went to school for. I mean, I studied this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it's like I did. I went to, you know, theater and, you know, went to, and
you
and
did
animation.
the theater thing? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I went to film school, theater, UCLA, you know, I did all that. And I did study it, but you don't have to. You don't have to.
Did you go to speech tournaments as well? Did you guys have those?
Speech tournaments?
Speech, like we had.
Forensics?
Yeah, forensic, National Forensic League.
I went
That's what it was
forensic. I didn't do that. No, I just did plays. I was classically, you know, trained, that kind of thing. And then I got really into animation. And then doing voices for animation. What was really fun was doing voices for friends' movies. Because you know, when you do, and I tell people, do student movies, student films, because no money or anything, but the thing is it's so pure creativity. They have not worried about demographics or, you know, like, oh, the studio can't do this, or we have to change the character. It's like, no, this is completely someone's vision. Just go in and play, and it gets you a nice reel, you know, and it's fun. You know, it's a really cool. place to discover creativity. You know.
Did you do any theater when you were in school?
Yeah, I only had time. So I did a bunch of like one acts. But since I was playing football in college, it kind of took up like my practice time. I couldn't really rehearse for like a full play.
It's bad to
So
be.
I only got to do one in college. The spring semester of my senior year, because football was over for me at that point. And I really enjoyed it. But other than that, you know, like doing the one acts and, you know, like I was a theater major too, you know, and like going through that whole circuit and everything. It's I wish I could have had the opportunity to do more. And actually I've been wanting to get back on stage, because right now, you know, all I do is film and television, and it's, I don't know, for me at least, and we've talked to numerous people on this podcast even, and there's something about that live performance on stage, you know, like my first couple roles on TV, I couldn't believe how boring it was. It was like,
Oh, really?
you're there for
a lot of sitting
14-hour
around, isn't it?
day.
Oh, yeah. The process
You're like
of it.
a 14-hour day, and like I get a maybe act for like maybe an hour in that 14 hours, like actually acting, you know, not counting time between cut, you know, rolling, not counting any of that time, like actually acting. And it comes with a whole, sorry, I'm going on my own little tangent.
please.
No,
That's what we're here.
It comes with like a whole nother discipline, and that's what I really noticed. Like the professionals on set is they're not afraid to be a weirdo, because the younger actors, I was, you know, one of the biggest shows I was on was The 100, and it's a bunch of young actors. You know, everybody's in their 20s and 30s at the oldest, you know, pretty much. And we're so excited, you know, and like we want to talk to each other, and, you know, like, oh, it's so fun, and we're all doing this, and, you know, like, and then like the really serious actors, they'll be sitting in the green room. They won't be talking to anybody, and they'll just be getting dialed into their character and
focused.
You know, I've even seen people, you know, you try and spark up, I'm sorry, you know, don't talk to me right now. You know, I'm getting
because
into
they got
that
to stay
character.
in that moment
For sure.
And
That's a skill in itself. That's a huge skill.
crazy focus.
Huge skill, because it's
Hold
not
on to the
easy,
focus.
even for trained actors. It's not easy to flip that switch on and off. You know,
you
it's
got to
not.
get yourself into it.
You know, if I'm about to be tortured and crying and having the most emotional scene, I can't be in this energy that I'm in right now. You know, like I gotta like. Like you can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to just all of a sudden. Okay, I don't.
That's the Meryl Streep. I heard she does that.
Yeah.
She would be like, and it was my son. Cut. Are we going to Thai food or what? It's just some people have a quick. And there's no right way.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
some people are really great at the film.
Yeah.
You know, or the microphone.
Yeah, I heard that George C. Scott was like that.
Oh,
he would
really?
He would sit around and play poker with the crew and everything. Yeah, George, we're ready for you. God damn it, somebody. Okay, wait a minute. And then now I'm Patton. In 2 seconds, he was Patton.
And that was one take, right? When he did that speech?
Yeah.
I believe in the Patton. I could be wrong, but I think that was his first only take.
Wow.
We're going to go for the enemy. Like, you know, that
crap
was
through a goose.
You got it. Yeah. He was.
Well, you guys know the story about Marlon Brando too, right? I mean, this guy refused to learn lines to the point where they would tape cue cards to his co-stars. They literally would, like
that's
big
what I heard.
SNL version cue cards, and they would tape them to his co-star.
That's great.
And he'd be sitting there delivering his lines, reading off a script right there.
It'd be terrible if there was an accident. Excuse me, hold on. There you go. If there was an accident and you were present.
Yeah.
And he won the Oscar for Best Actor.
He's fabulous.
Never memorized anything.
Fabulous actor. Yeah, it's
crazy.
His characterizations were so
Yeah.
great.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
When he would bring
Phenomenal.
in.
I'm not trying to take anything away from him.
No,
It's
no,
just
no,
crazy.
no.
Oh God,
crazy
no,
the process.
No. And it's funny you bring it back to in animation. It's so funny because we have to be such quick studies. In animation, it's sometimes. Well, you're in a series, you get to read ahead, right? I mean, like I would say oftentimes I get the script ahead of time and I can read and maybe work out some things in my head and all that. Video games, never. I mean, rarely do I get a script ahead of time.
No.
Yeah.
And if I do,
And
I
you
don't
wouldn't
understand
want
it.
it.
I don't
Yeah.
understand it, because it's all not
it's all
action.
phrases.
Yeah, and so
It's not linear.
Yeah, it's
Which
non-linear.
I'm not crazy about that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's a different
But
kind of thing.
it's
It's in other words,
You're
for
laying
peop-
bricks.
Right. You're writing in 4 dimensions in video games. So this scene has to hook up with something over there.
Mm-hmm.
So they really have it flushed out of how you got to say it and how
For
does
sure.
it all match up.
Yeah.
To me, it's all the same in terms of, let's say I play a wizard. You know, but I'll have maybe 5 different endings. As opposed to a film or a TV show, we have one linear thing. Whereas in interactive, you're playing 10 different ways this can go down. You know, and that's interesting process for an actor even in and of itself. But the one thing I really learned with animation acting, because in theater you have the luxury, and it's not really a luxury, but getting off book. Yeah. So by the time, unless we're doing improv, by the time I've made these words my own. If we're doing Shakespeare, I've memorized this to the point where I'm not memorizing. I'm responding off of you, and we're having a full out scene. And these words I've worked out so much that they're naturally occurring to me almost. That's what you want. Yeah. Whereas in animation, you don't really get that.
No.
And so I have to make, unless I'm doing narration, that was the biggest problem I had, I think, when I first started doing animation, was make it jump off the page. Make it sound like I'm actually in the scene spontaneously talking, as opposed to like, well, let's take a look at what we got to do. Like, I was like, I hear like I'm reading, you'll know, Yeah. And there were people like, Johnny DiMaggio and stuff like that, where I would see like, oh, he's taking this off the page. Yeah. You too, and
for sure,
like,
Jim. Yeah.
Totally, by definition. And like, and that was the big lesson I had to learn, is the opposite of theater, which was make this genuine here. Right now.
I don't think people really understand how hard that is. Like, it's so hard. One of the craziest notes I ever got from one of my acting teachers. Well, crazy for me at the time in my youth, as a 19-year-old. I was in an acting class, and she was like, improv and scripted should look the exact same in a performance. You shouldn't be able to tell whether something's scripted or improv.
That's good.
And I was like, that is so hard. Like, at the time, that sounded crazy to me.
That is fabulous.
How do you take something scripted and make it look like improv or vice versa?
Yes.
Like, what?
Yeah.
And it should just always be how we're talking right now. You wouldn't know if it's scripted or improv.
Right. You got to be a quick study.
You got to find that. And we were just talking the other day about your talent, voice actors' talent as cold readers. Cold reading is just such a talent. To be able to pick something up, and that's essentially what you've just been describing. For anybody who doesn't know, cold reading is when you get a script and you have no time to prepare. Literally, somebody hands you a piece of paper and you act it out right then and there.
And you got to do a kind of and generally for animation, you will get a storyboard, or you'll get something the night before or a week, or hopefully earlier. But it's then you have the checklist in your mind as to like, what's this character? How does he sound? What is he? How intelligent is he? What does he want? All the actory questions.
Yeah.
What do you want? Where did you come from? Where you're going? And
sure.
is your and all those things have to kind of be quick. Except our world, it's funny. It's like, what's the tone? Is it a comedy? Is it cinema? For me, is it a vampire? What was he before he became a vampire? Is he a ghost? Is he a demon? You have checklists in your head of like how to make this guy real.
Sure.
And you have these wonderful writers and directors who will guide you. Yeah. Sometimes you can ask enough questions that the writers say, I never thought about that. What was he? And you kind of, one character is many artists.
Oh boy, that's for sure.
It's a designer. We're a part of that. We bring in the soul of this thing and the voice, but a lot of things are prescribed, defined to us, right? I mean, what do you say?
I agree. They have a vision and you have to serve it, and then you do it right.
Right. You got to do it right. Exactly. Not your way. I'll do it my way.
I always give them one as written, but like with Darkwing, I would never, a lot of times they would want to do a read through, and that's worthy, and I get it and everything, but I didn't like it. I didn't care for read throughs. I mean, you'd have to do them if you have to do them. But a lot of times, Darkwing Duck is the one that really sticks out. Is the first time I was recording it, the first time I read it. The very first, I didn't look at it in rehearsal. I didn't look ahead. I would go through and put circles around Darkwing Duck, and that, so I'd know where the line was. Yeah. And then I would read my cue line, because okay, now I say that, and you get that sort of rhythm in your head, and whatever came out, and a lot of times they would keep it. So. And and what we do, it's okay to just rewind the tape, go over it, or not even tape anymore. But like I say, instincts are the best stinks.
That's good.
You know?
And they also trust you on that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you've been with this character for a bit.
Yeah.
And so there have been times where like I would never dare correct a writer. Like, I would always do as written, as you say. And then I'll say, can I do a pass? I have an idea. And then oftentimes they'll ask you like, well, would he say this? Would this and I'll say, we don't usually say, let's say for example, there's a period where we stopped talking about himself in Hulk. Hulk like this. That changed. It just depends on what genre of Hulk you wanted. As a silly example, but that's kind of
true.
And you do become somewhat of an authority on your character, but you're not the ultimate. But you can also where, especially if it's a character you've had a hand in creating. It's a little different than like sure. I'll be a little more careful when I'm covering.
I'd imagine
certain characters like Master Shifu, who's Dustin Hoffman, but in the series I'm Master Shifu. So I am starting with Dustin Hoffman. You're the Dragon Warrior. You've always been the Dragon Warrior. But I'm not going to go veer. Mine is a little different than his. Yeah. So I'm going to veer a little bit outside, but not too much. But like. SpongeBob or a Bender, those guys had lent themselves into those characters so much. I can't see anyone else doing those characters.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like some of
security.
Truly. Well, some characters are iconic. Like there were many, for example, Hulks before me, and there'll be many after me. Like that's kind of happens. Or like you and I share character.
Oh yeah, good old Taz.
We got to do a little Taz,
a little Shakespeare.
All for a muse of fire. All the world's a stage.
Yes.
All the men and women players. I don't know.
What a piece of work is man.
Oh, that's deep. I love that. That should be in there. What a piece of work. But so we share those characters for a variety of reasons. Sometimes people just don't want to do the character anymore. It kills your voice or whatever.
Or unable to.
Yeah, it happens.
That's very.
So
very
we
true.
kind of are like we preserve the Toon's, Looney Tune characters and all, but then there are some where we get to really go and,
God willing,
go crazy.
That's one thing about cartoon characters is they don't really die. Mm-hmm. They're just we're gonna get somebody else do it now.
Yeah,
and that's okay. Yeah. I mean, Steamboat Willie was what year was that?
Oh my gosh,
1920,
early 1900s.
Oh no, wait, 23. D23.
Oh, yeah.
That's why.
There we are.
Yeah, D23. Yeah, what he said.
Yeah, if you heard it, I don't. See, mine you don't understand that well.
Yeah,
that's what's fun about that.
Same with me.
Well, here's another question for both of you. You both got your voice acting career started in your, early, mid-30s, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
No.
If I'm not mistaken.
Me, pretty
so my question as somebody that age for you was... How did you keep the dream and the strive alive in your 20s for the decade and a half that career wasn't happening for you yet? How did you stay uplifted, motivated? How did you stay driven that you knew that still was going to be the thing? Because as you get older, those dreams start to fade. The pressures of society come in.
Yeah, you're 55 and you haven't got your first gig yet.
Right. So I'm curious, because in your 30s, you're starting to get, along with life. And, you're not in your 20s anymore. You're not a teenager anymore. So I'm curious what you did mentally to keep that focus, to keep that drive.
Yeah. That's a good one. Well, I never thought I would do anything else.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I can't do anything else.
There we are.
So
that's right.
So I mean, I was
Dr.
selling.
Cummings.
Yeah. It's not going to happen.
All right.
I was pretty good at sales, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and then but I didn't want to sell anything.
Did you have to consciously motivate yourself or it was just like it's going to happen when it's going to happen?
Yeah, I definitely consciously, I was always on the lookout to how do I get here? How do I do this? How do I do that? Oh, we have to make a demo tape. Oh, then you moved to California. Okay. So a demo tape. Okay. Let's see. Like for me, my buddy Chris Potter, God bless him, he was an audio engineer and he worked at the Video Depot and he was my assistant manager. I was the manager.
Wow.
And
that's
not
that easy.
Yeah. And you betcha. And I said, well, I always, I wanted to do this and make a tape. He goes, oh, we could make a tape. Oh yeah, you think so? And he goes, yeah, we can do it right here. So we had some microphones, and I made it in the Video Depot in Anaheim Hills, my first demo tape.
Wow.
And I wrote it out, and it was a guy from India and a guy from Ireland were sitting there watching television together, just two buddies, and I was them, and then I was everything that they flipped through the channels. I had the old boom, 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 boom. And it was one commercial after another, and some of the characters made it onto into Dumbo Circus, and it got me my first job, and I sent it around, and I hesitate to tell this to people because it sounds like, well, then you just, you were right place, right time. But I mean, you still have to produce when you get there. I sent around my videotape, and to Don Bluth, who I've come to know after, and he called me back and he says, "Wow, you're pretty good. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm doing video games." He was doing Dragon's Lair, stand-up video games. And he said, "But I'll pass it along." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Oh, okay. That sounds like, well, don't call me because I ain't calling you." And then about a week later, I got a call. Then the guy says, "Is this the guy who did blah, blah, blah? And this is all you on this tape?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, you want to come up and audition?" And I go, "Yes, I do. Can you come up today or tomorrow?" And I go, "Well, I'm off on Tuesday." "Oh, you have a job?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, well, you may have another one. Why don't you come up and come up and audition for this?" And I auditioned for it, and I got the job, Dumbo Circus. And we were doing 2 shows a week, which came to about back then I think $850, $900, and that was about $300 a week more than I was making for 50 hours.
Oh yeah.
And I did it in 8. And I said, "Oh, okay, well, I'll do this." and then one job led to another, and it was nice because it was 65 episodes. It stretched out to about a year's worth of income, and by then I had an agent.
That's so great.
Because you got to have an agent.
You do.
Yeah. So
that's one of the hardest things to get.
Yeah.
By the way, you're talking about being in your 30s or being in your 20s.
Mm-hmm.
30s. Yeah. For me, it was kind of a different way. For me, I just kept trying to be creative. I just was in school and I was doing plays and stand up and really interested in producing my own work. I always thought I would do like something like a mix of stand-up comedy with a rock and roll band or something. I was always trying to do that.
It's funny that Jim mentions that radio because you have a little bit where you do something.
That was Beethoven's 5th Symphony.
That's great.
That was one of my bits. I would do like radio, same thing. I know it's so funny we share that. And I would do voices for vocal impressions or whatever. And so I just kept going out there and taking it to the street, not making any money. I got to work on some projects. I worked in production as a PA. I worked on a lot of things with my dad. He was in production. I worked on a film that never got made, but I was archiving and cleaning up artwork for the artists. And I was in film school and I was doing this. And it was great. It was a Penguin movie. It was like prior to Happy Feet, and it was like, this is a movie. And I was doing all their scratch. So I was doing their scratch records, and that just started to become. And the Penguins of Madagascar guys came out of that. Came out of that.
No kidding.
Yeah, they're amazing. Really funny dudes. Really great guys. And so. But I was just, so I kept the dream alive because I felt like I couldn't do anything else. I didn't know it was going to take this path. Like, I didn't say, I'm going to be a voice actor. I knew that was something I wanted to do, but I did not know that was going to be like, oh, that's the main thing you're doing. Like, I didn't know that.
Well, you had other irons in the fire.
I didn't know it was possible. And I thought, hey, this is great. So it was a very slow, because by the time I hit the scene, there were already people who were superstars, you know. And if you have Kevin Michael Richardson and John DiMaggio and Jeff Bennett, do you need a friend? Do you need another one? Do you need someone in? It's like it was already saturated.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And so I basically yelled my way in. I was everybody's creature because I went in doing comedy and music.
Yelled my way in.
I did. I literally
puffed and I blew there.
I killed myself on every medic. Help! you know, and your suffering will be legendary. No, you know what I mean? That was my whole world. Okay, and I'm getting like scrapes on my throat, you know, and like
getting polyps
because I was doing stuff that nobody wanted to do, you know, like or could do, or
and you do it well.
Thank you, or kind, but I was doing, and it was odd for me because I got known for this tough rumble creature guy thing. That's not how I start. That's not how I. So Hollywood sometimes tells you what you're going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they only like you to have one dream sometimes. You know, I think, you know, if I come in and here's my book of poetry, they're like, yeah, all right. No, just yell.
Yeah, right,
just
right.
roar.
Just yell.
Just roar. Just roar. We're good.
Yeah.
No, you're not very bright. Just roar. You know, and like people just have you.
Here, lift something heavy.
Yeah, that's what they.
Yeah, that's right.
And to their credit, here's the good news about that. You're happy to be typecast because you're being cast.
Right.
So you go and do all those things because
Half
you
of being
love.
typecast is being cast.
Exactly, and you like it, you know, and you explore that world. But then after a while, they go, "Oh wait a minute, you do like regular acting?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, for years I've been doing, you know, like I do spoken word. I actually do this, you know, like when you sing, you do, like they don't know that because they've only, and so for years that was my jam. And then I got to play some really neat video game characters that I still play, you know, and I'm grateful for that because that got me to do some acting.
Nice.
You know, and do that whole thing. I mean, it's all acting, even if you're
Yeah.
roaring, you know?
You bet.
But I just, so it was an odd way I got in through a way I did not expect.
Yeah.
You know, they discovered me once I was in, you know, but I was being everyone's creature, which I still love doing.
Yeah.
Sure,
You know?
sure.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was
that's
cool.
great.
I never talk about it like that.
Yeah,
but
it never. It doesn't matter which door you got in through,
Right.
You know, or window, or
No, truly.
You know.
Or vent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
or for me it feels sometimes like the floor cracks, you know, like
Yeah.
this, you know, like because you know, you're facing when you do this work, you're not only facing these wonderful performers who are already established, but every celebrity and everybody who's making a movie and now every influencer and everybody. So you've got against, you know, a basketball player, a rock star, and you going up for, you know, these parts, you know, and it's like, and so you're constantly, you know, I felt like I was just constantly trying to, yell my way in.
Yeah.
And now it started to become like, comedy, or we do this, or drama even now. Now I'm getting to do like Blood of Zeus. I'm playing Hades, and it's the most dramatic.
wow.
Like I love this show. But
Blood
it's a
of
new one.
Zeus. No,
Blood of
what-
Zeus. Check it out on Netflix. Yeah.
No
it's-
kidding.
Yeah, and they're taking Greek mythology very seriously, and like, you know, and Hades is like one of my favorite. Like I told him, I said, this reminds me of my theater days again.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a love affair with Persephone.
Yeah. And you didn't watch Hercules, I hope, because then James Woods was Hades.
Oh, that's great though. But he was perfect for that.
Yeah. Oh, I think so.
It's a different Hades.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. It's interesting.
Yeah, it
what
sure
they're-
is.
No, what they're playing at for this guy, he's not necessarily the villain. You know, I know because it's
Interesting.
always the underworld, and you actually get his perspective, which is he doesn't like being in Hades.
Oh, that's cool.
He doesn't like suffering, but
Yeah.
he is
Yeah.
his lot. His
Interesting.
lot. And Zeus drew this lot, and his lot is to stay there. And he's in love with, of course, the goddess of spring and flowers, of course, right?
Yes, yes.
And that's the forbidden love, you know. So it's things like that. Going back to it though, like I would have loved to have played that. I would never dreamt I would get the chance to do that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? In the beginning.
Yeah.
Not when I was fresh out of school. No, that would be. I expected I would be doing more acting, you know, things like that. But I just, you know, it's a crazy business.
Sure
Yeah.
is.
Like you say, you don't know how you're going to work your way in. I would not have guessed that. And I was, once I became the creature, I loved it. You know what I mean? And then that became its own universe.
Right.
Like,
Niche.
and that's when it became about vocal stylings and sounds, you know, and discovering new, you know, like whatever that is, you know, crazy vocalizations for I'm woolly mammoth or a
sure.
dog. I've played so many dogs. Have you played a lot of dogs?
Yeah, I think so.
A lot of dogs.
Yeah, that's good. Wolf. I mean,
Wolves.
wolf.
Yeah. Oh,
Or wolf. Yeah, wolf.
My wolf. Yeah. My son's studio right now is this is so funny, is in my son's room. You have to go through my son's room to get to a closet. And we live in this apartment down at the beach, which I love, but it's tiny. And my studio is in his closet. Basically, you have to go through his room to get to my studio. I look like
a closet.
I look like a spy. And I'll send you the picture. It's got all these dinosaurs and it's cute. And you open those like computers and that discotheque light and he told his teacher, my dad, what does your dad do? He's like, my dad's a werewolf in my closet.
Okay,
it's a lot to unpack.
Perfect.
Yeah, and they kind of knew. They laughed. They said, he said you're a werewolf in his closet. I'm like, he's right. I closed the door, and he hears. And comes in, Daddy, it's time for dinner. It's like, okay. But it's so funny. That's his perception of
wow.
That's your job?
As in who's afraid of the big bad?
That's right.
Yes. Oof.
Well, do you want to? We have a little game that we play on this podcast.
Uh-oh.
It's a voice swap game. If you're familiar. It's. I'll give it a brief rundown. Jim will start, and he'll do one of his iconic characters. He'll give a line. Let's say, "Stay as sweet as honey," and then you'll take one of your iconic characters and repeat that same line, but in that character voice.
It's fun.
And then we'll go vice versa. Make sense?
Oh, I love it. Okay, so
let me conjure one up. Are you thinking of a character? I'll think of a character.
I'll think of
You
one.
know who I was thinking of, who we haven't done in a long time? Actually, I don't even know if we've voice swapped with him, is Lucky Piquel.
Oh, okay. Lucky Piquel from Bonkers.
Yeah.
I'd have to hear.
Yeah. Well, he's he's a normal human being, and he's stuck with Bonkers, D. Bobcat.
Right.
So, all right, I got a line in my head that I can give to you.
Okay.
And so
You're gonna do it,
here
and then I try to match it with my character.
with one of your characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll depend on what it is.
All right. So let's see. Lucky Piquel. Here we go. Look, Bonkers. Do me a favor. Don't say anything for 20 minutes, and I'll give you $10,000. Okay?
I think what would be a fun one. Well, I'll do the obvious just because it's fun. Look, Bonkers, I want you to do me a favor. I'll make you a deal. You don't say anything for 10 minutes, and I'll give you $1 million. I flubbed the line.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I can't afford the $1 million, though.
But I know, right?
So
that was fun.
Okay, so now you conjure up one of your characters with an iconic line, and I'll throw back some maybe. Because it'll be the anti of whatever.
I want to have a good one for Pooh. Okay. Let's see.
What about Shao Kahn?
Yeah, I think, okay.
Yeah.
Prepare for endless suffering.
Prepare for endless suffering. Oh, bother.
That's even more terrifying.
Yeah,
actually, that's way more terrifying. Like, that's really great. I would love Pooh. I wouldn't want you to do that because I want you to keep your job. But yes, I joked with Bill Farmer before. I said, you're.
Oh God, yeah.
I told him, I said, you got such a great voice. I said, you got to play a scary guy. Can you imagine Bill Farmer? Well, the kids, I get them in the, I get everybody in the van.
Everybody in the van.
And he says, people have asked me to do it. I won't.
Yeah.
Just because he's like, he and I and you two, we have these personas that are super kind of nice, and it's really it's crazy when it sounds scary that. So Pooh being scary is wonderful. Oh, bother.
Well, I have a friend whose name is well known, and I won't tell you who it is. But when he would be meeting a girl or whatever, he said, "You have to go over there and give her some poo." And I said, "Give her some poo," and he would say, "Can you say this? Can you say that?" And I go, no. Well, what's the word I'm looking for? Hell no. And I said, can I tell her to just be as sweet as honey? And all right, that'll do.
Yeah. They ask you to say stuff.
Yeah.
No, really,
He said it on the podcast. Okay. We can say who it was.
Yeah. Oh, it was Jess.
Yeah, it was Jess.
Oh,
And speaking of Jess,
Jim,
Jess,
can
actually,
you say this horrible thing?
No, it was a sexy thing. He wanted
a sexy thing.
And that was like,
Pooh Hefner.
Pooh Hefner.
Oh, I love
he called
it.
me Pooh Hefner.
is brilliant. Jess is so damn funny.
Oh, he really is.
Kills me. And anytime I hear Journey, I hear him. It's like,
I know.
Yeah,
that
right.
man is. I love that guy. I have such love in my heart.
Incredible.
For him. But that's hilarious. Can I give you another Pooh line? Okay.
Oh, here we go.
This is Soldier 76 reporting for duty. We're all soldiers now.
This is Soldier 76 reporting for duty. We're all soldiers now.
See, I'm telling you, I think Phil really has it. I see why people want him to say stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's just so, what's the word?
Well, you know what it is? You're 5 years old.
You're 5 years old. Sorry,
That's-
I'm messing with
that's
the
what it
microphone.
is.
You're 5 years old, and the dichotomy, the juxtaposition is
Yeah.
so wrong and great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have one more game. It's a newer one that we started playing. We actually did it for the first time with Jess. And I'm fascinated by how voice actors come up with a voice when seeing an image.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you a cartoon character.
There we go. I love this.
That's completely original. And then I'd like would you want to voice the same one or take different characters?
Well, it's up to you, but it might be
it's
interesting to
fascinating.
have one. Why don't we both try two of the same?
Okay.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Because that'll show people the variety. Although oftentimes you're going to want to do the same thing the other guy did, but like we'll try
Yeah.
to make it different.
Well, I planned on imitating you. So
I always
good.
imitate him anyway.
Okay,
But
so
isn't
here's
that
the
funny?
character.
Here we go.
We'll put this on
You see
screen.
it? Okay.
Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, you take
Got it.
hide it first so that Fred
okay.
doesn't see.
So
he's
he's
not allowed to press.
see the voice. This is a cool game.
Well, I was just wondering if maybe you could pass me some of them little packets of the mayonnaise and get you some of them mustards. And if they got any ketchup over there, then get that's okay because I'm finna get me some fries.
I gotta see this.
Okay.
Oh, he's great. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I only love the veggie burger. Only the veggie burger is my favorite. That's the best one, and it's plant-based. Plant-based, you're creating a gut of bacteria in you that is more appropriate. You don't want to poison yourself. The problem these days is everybody is poisoning you with the food and the plastics.
That's true.
I like her very much. I like her very much.
And did you draw this?
I did.
You
I
did.
did.
I was going to say,
great drawings.
I recognize this
I
character.
love her. She's very smart. I can tell she knows what's up.
Like you're very smart. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that
You got
is
another
so
one for
good.
us?
You want another one?
Yeah.
There
let's
we
see.
go.
But
Sure.
it's funny how like you take a different approach to it.
Let's go back to the man himself.
Oh, here he goes. Okay.
I was just going to tell you that if you are not careful, I may have to deal with you in a way that will cause you much pain. Not for me. I will enjoy. You, not so much. Bum, bum, bum.
Oh wow. Oh, I love that. See, I love the take you doing that.
Well, I actually know his name. Should we tell him his name?
Oh, this is real. This is a guy. I'm messing this microphone up. I'm
Kung
sorry.
Fu Cow.
That's
No,
okay.
it's okay. It's coming back.
That was really.
Yeah, it was
Fucking great.
crackling up a little bit.
Sorry about that, everybody. Is this a real guy?
Kung Fu Cow. Kung Fu Cow.
Puka.
Oh, okay. So he's kind of. Would you call him a badass?
He is badass.
Oh, yeah.
Because
He's a badass with no self-confidence.
okay.
So,
It's really the eyes and the
Yeah.
I kind of like
I'm gonna go take it away from what I know.
Please do.
But I
Yeah.
just
maybe he just I'm ready. I've done a lot of kata work, and I am ready for some kung fu action. I have the headband, and I've studied a lot. So you better do me a favor. Grab me here. No, hold on. If we're going to fight, you got to grab me here, and then I'll twist you over here and flip you on the side. No, hold on. Let me start again. Okay, pretend like you're coming at me. No, you know what? Can we just talk this out?
There you go. Yeah, that's good.
I love this guy. Like you're just kind of like confident, but like
That's really good.
We're all white belts, you know.
Yeah. Oh God.
Kind of something about that voice. I'm a little scared.
There you go.
That's
I
great.
like it. Yeah.
That always fascinates me because it's such a unique, personable thing, you know, like what memories or what ignites when you see an image, you know.
Oh, it's everything.
Because it's almost like it's like the it factor that they talk about. It's like,
Yes.
it's not a measurable thing. It's kind of just like person to person, like what's going to come out.
It's true, and a lot of times you really want like they'll direct you. I love when they give you a picture. 'Cause
Yeah.
it informs me of what the mouth is, but then you might have your take. They'll have a take on it, but it's fun when they let you just kind of do what you just did. Also, if you're into animation, like you are, or you're drawing a picture, sometimes I'll just draw a character and I say, what does it want to say to me? Like, what does he want to say? I always joke about it.
Absolutely.
I say, puppets always win. In other words, it's going to be the puppet's going to inform me. I may have a story.
Yeah.
But have you noticed like more comedy comes out of you just playing a character? Like if I say, Jim, just do a guy you knew at the video place you worked at, you know, you'll start coming up with stuff just as that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and you didn't really
That's
write
true.
it.
That's
You're just
right.
like all of a sudden, I think Billy Bob Thornton did that with Sling Blade. I think he has a story about that where that character, I'm just gonna be, and he's working on a film with, I don't know, Val Kilmer, somebody. He felt very belittled on I don't know what film it was, but he felt very like, well, and he kind of made a character to get himself through it. It's his story, but he's just like, well, I'm not going anywhere in Hollywood and probably just got to pack up now. And somebody said to him, you know, there are people who have conditions that sound like that.
Really?
Yeah, and he kind of made a whole character out of something that was, again, an adverse experience.
Wow.
But he made
Good
a
old
character. And
Sling
we always do that. We're like, well, my life is over, I guess. You know, like whatever. We kind of
This
have
is
that
it.
Eeyore in us.
I guess this is my life now. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And like, and then it will inform you of what it'll say next. So I would
And
say,
you
like,
know, and whenever I often think, and you know, people ask me about doing this character or that character. You know, bad guys are, if you think of it as music, bad guys are in the minor key. Bad guys are minor keys. Good guy. Captain America is a guy who goes like this. I mean, it might as well have been a trumpet.
Yeah.
You know,
Bugle.
and Doctor Doom is not anybody's idea of fun. Boo, 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 boo,
Yeah.
boo, 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 boo.
yeah.
And that's not good news.
No.
You know, you don't even know what he has to say, what he's saying.
It's a white and black
But
keys.
it's in the minor
That
key.
is such a great.
Bad guys are in minor keys.
And then every now, I love that. That's such a great way to look at it. Or every now and then you get a good seventh note. You know, guys just bluesy. Even the bad guy could be like, well, I guess so. I always love that. In any, you're talking about bad guys. I love finding the humanity in any character, as bad as it is, as bad as he is. It's always like there's that little bit, that shred of that person in there.
I think that makes the best villains, right?
I do too. You know, because why? You know, most villains. I mean, there are a few. Most of them don't think of themselves as bad guys.
No, they're all trying to do the right thing.
No,
Yeah. What they see is right.
one of the most. What's that?
I just said they're all trying to do what they see as
They
right.
think is the right. I mean,
Yeah.
there are a couple of characters that say, "No, I know I'm bad."
Yeah.
You know, the psychos.
Yeah.
There are the Chuckies of the world. You know, even he's a protagonist, right? But you know, like in his own world, right? But like most of them think they're doing. I love when I get a character like that has a strong point of view. I had a Mass Effect character like that, Saren, who's in his mind who's the good guy, but everyone always thinks of him as the nemesis because he was.
Yeah.
And I even that blew my mind that video games actually had that complexity of character. I never thought about that because I grew up with Pac-Man and
Right.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Pac-Man, come hither.
Yeah.
You must eat the fruit before the eyeballs go to the center of the labyrinth. No, it's never that dramatic. Pac-Man. Oh, wouldn't that be great to have Shakespeare Pac-Man?
Oh, okay. I think you just invented a genre.
I think we got it. Shakespearean Pac-Man.
Stay tuned, folks.
Stay tuned, Paul.
Oh man.
Yeah. Or we had. How do you keep your voice good? Are you just?
Well, I never smoked.
Okay. Yeah,
I have every
me neither.
cigarette I ever smoked with me right now, and I don't yell. I go to
Yeah.
football games or sport. I don't yell. I whistle.
Can
you know.
really do
so-
whistle?
Yeah.
How do you? I cannot do that. I would want to do that.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. You have to. Just,
I can whistle, but
You go like that, and you put it in, and then you go. Yeah. Yeah. I got that down.
pretty good, man. You always need it. They
Got
always
that
need a
going
whistle.
for me.
They always need a whistle.
Yeah.
I say this because we did I love doing comic cons with him, conventions with him,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we did one where they talked about throat safety, and I do this horrible weird thing, and I don't think anyone does it, but I do this thing where it's like if I really yelled, like no, and I go he. I try to center myself back, and people are looking at me like crazy. I'm like, Jim, you ever do anything like that? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
I got the hugest laugh. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's good.
No, that's
You're just, I don't understand. And it really doesn't sound right at all. It's like, and now you will die. No,
Yeah. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, yeah.
That's what I'm worried about.
yeah, we don't like that.
Working on video games. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything you want to promote? Where
Yeah.
can people
Everything.
see you? People can see
Happiness and peace in the world. That's what I
Well,
like to promote.
that's good.
I like that.
That's not a bad start.
We'll start with that.
Anything else?
Well, let's see. New shows. Oh, Hit Monkey. Jason Sudeikis. We're up for another season. So excited. I play Hit Monkey. Very excited.
you. What's that on?
It's now on Hulu, I think.
On Hulu.
I think it's changed.
Hit
around.
Monkey on Hulu.
And we're finishing up. Like I told you, Star Trek Lower Decks is our Give It Some Love. It's our last round here. Hey, The Blood of Zeus. Please check it out. Blood
of Zeus.
We're going to keep that going
On Netflix?
Netflix. And I work with Charlie Adler, and I work with a guy named Steve Ropelack on Rubber Chicken Cards, and it's an improv animated card. If you ever want to just look up Rubber Chicken Cards, they're really silly, they're fun.
Oh, God, that's
and
amazing.
Gonna get you on there. You would
Yeah.
be so perfect. Please do that. And working with a friend on some other animation called duckyfilms.com. We're going to do some more, but it's a little character I have that's a duck that I've had since I was 12 years old.
Oh yeah.
He's a
Let's,
lot more like this. He's a little bit depressive.
That's what Kung Fu Cow is for me.
There we
Yeah.
are.
I first
Yeah,
drew him
right
when I
on.
was 12. Yeah.
Kung Fu Cow.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we'll have
Yeah.
to do a
That's cool.
mashup.
We sure did.
And let me think if there's anything else, because I always hate that when I walk away and go, I forgot to say.
oh,
but I-
that's all I do.
Is it you
Socials?
do that?
Forget.
Social media?
Although I have to get my Instagram back. For some reason, I can't get back on it. It really is me, Fred Tatasciore, my name, Instagram. And I will try to get some stuff out a little bit more,
Right on.
right now, my social media is like, what happened? But it is me. There was a fake me for a while.
Oh yeah.
But it
I
is
think I
really
had
me.
that.
So,
I had that
Yeah.
for a
Oh,
while.
sure.
Yeah.
And if there's anything else that I can think of off the top of my head right now. Oh, and then of course, Skeleton Crew is coming out in December 3rd, I think. Yeah. So
Comic Cons, of course. Here.
Oh
and there.
yeah, I'm pretty much here now. I'm not in
you're
LA.
good.
What's that? Yeah, I'm not doing any. We're doing a Saban Theater.
End of the year,
We're
so.
doing a charity event. We're doing a Christmas Carol reading. Yeah, and that'll be.
Who are you going to be?
You know what's funny? I do all the sounds. I do the soundboard.
Oh,
Open
that's
and close,
great.
like a radio. We do it
That's
like a radio
cool
drama, and I
as
do a bunch of the
hell.
voices. All the spirits.
Yeah,
and all
and you
that
have the
people.
coconut shells.
Coconut shells, chains. Yeah, I love the coconut.
Yeah.
Oh no, they've built
That's
some, so
so
that's
cool.
coming up. I'll send that info
What
to
a
you so you can put it.
gas.
It's
Sure.
Yeah, it's I think when are we doing it? Anyway, I'll promote it. We'll put it in your feed or whatever.
In the description.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's so it's a charity event. It's and also raising money for homeless kids and families and stuff. So hopefully that will happen in the
Godspeed.
Godspeed.
More
man.
power to you.
We need it. One of the greatest parts about this job is being able to do stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like very lucky.
Yeah.
Just, raise awareness.
Put those
money.
smiles on those little faces.
Man, it's the best thing in the world.
It
really
is. Yeah, I agree.
I know. So yeah,
agree.
and I thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
This has been such an honor and a pleasure. You
Yeah,
guys.
thank you. Fred
Tatasciore, ladies
Tatasciore,
and
everybody.
gentlemen.
You guys.
Hey.
Tuned in. Represent. I don't know.
Take us home, Christopher.
That's going to be the new intro song, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for watching and listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're checking us out on YouTube. Remember, again, you can find this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much again, as always, to our Patreon supporters. You can get bonus content over on patreon.com/Jim Cummings Podcast. The link will be in the description. And of course, thank you for joining us today, Fred. Really appreciate it.
absolute
Fred
pleasure.
Tatasciore today, everybody.
Back at you.
Thank you so much.
Tatasciore.
And we just
Thank
want to
you.
emphasize
Thank
how
you so
much
much.
how much the subscribers mean. Like really, this podcast would cease to exist if it
subscribe.
wasn't for the subscribers.
He
Thank
subscribes.
you.
Thank
Subscriber
you.
right here. Look at that.
Say it.
Look at
Subscribe.
that.
You might just be on the show.
And on the show. See?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm a fan.
I describe too.
You describe.
Yeah.
I
And as a-
prescribe. Yeah, right.
As a reminder, don't forget to get your cameos from both of these fine fellas. Go on Cameo, get something for your friends and family, and you have convention dates that you can check at the top of this show. We said it at the beginning, so go and check those out of when you can see Jim in person. Until the next time, I'm producer Chris, Jim, Fred, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thank you. Love you.
Hey.